And welcome to Studio 91 on KCSM HD2, where live jazz meets the stories of the artists who shape it. Performing live in studio, we have two veterans of the San Francisco jazz scene. And I'm talking about guitarist and composer Bruce Forman and drummer extraordinaire and producer Akira Tana. And together, they are known as the Cowboy and the Samurai, who have teamed up to explore the archetypes and the relation to the jazz ethos. Now, between numbers, we're going to talk about their legacy, performing internationally and all over the Bay Area since the 1970s, and their own paths taken in jazz as band leaders and mentors on the scene. And support for Studio 91 comes from a generous grant from the Michael Jarrett Fund. And without further ado, let's make way for the Cowboy and the Samurai, Bruce Forman and Akira Tana. Take it away, guys. Studio 91, gentlemen. It's wonderful to have you both here. Two legends, I got to say, of the San Francisco Bay Area.
You're right.
Well, should I say
in my spare time?
That's right. Should I say seasoned? But between the two of you, I mean, you guys have over 100 years of jazz experience.
Oh God!
I mean, that's not highfalutin.
Yeah,
it shows too. Right?
No, it just smells.
It just smells a little funny, right? Well, again, welcome to Studio 91. This is the home of KCSM. We're in the record library here, where we just started this wonderful series where we can get together in our living room, if you will, and getting artists just like you to come in, play live, and of course speak with the audience and tell us a little bit what's happening. So this is guitarist Bruce Forman, everyone. Bruce, who's been performing now in the San Francisco Bay and beyond since the 1970s or so, right? Early 1970s. And Akira Tana started playing around the same time, but was in New York City for that time in the 1970s, right?
Different paths.
That's right. But originally, your Bay Area roots are strong. Originally, you are from Palo Alto, correct?
Yeah, born in San Jose and raised in Palo Alto, yeah.
That's right, that's right. How about you, Bruce? You're originally from Texas, I believe.
No, I was born in Massachusetts, grew up in Texas as a kid, and then San Francisco.
Where in Massachusetts?
Springfield.
Springfield. All right. All right. So you spent your formative years there, huh?
No, I didn't spend it. I don't even remember anything from there. I was in Texas by the time I was talking and walking.
That's right. Well,
and riding.
Sure. Yeah. Speaking of writing, we're going to get into that in a little bit because not only are you a phenomenal guitarist and musician, but you're also a novelist, as I understand.
Yeah, I can put a few words together.
That's right. I think a lot of people know you here in the Bay and beyond. Your signature cowboy hat.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You wrote a novel?
I wrote a novel. I wrote a bunch.
Without
I wrote four novels way before AI. It was BI.
That's right. That's
which
right.
is very limited, believe me.
Well, today we are exploring the connections between the samurai and the cowboy. And I assume you are the samurai, right?
No.
Boy,
I'm the cowboy.
You're the cowboy? I just got to make sure.
Can't you tell?
Really?
That's right, but there is a strong...
I think there's some racial profiling going on.
There is a real strong cultural connection between the narrative of a cowboy and the samurai, and that's something I never thought about until you guys actually put this project together. So we're going to also dive into that this hour. Yeah. So we opened with a piece that I well associate with Sonny Rollins.
Right.
It's what is it? I'm an old cowhand.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And I can see channeling Shelly Manne in there. Yeah, indeed. And of course, Barney Kessel is someone that was a big hero to you. And
a mentor as well.
That's right. And you ended up actually with Barney Kessel's guitar, as I understand.
Yes, I have that now.
Right. And does it stay in the corner in your room in a coveted spot in your house?
No, she talks too much. I put her in the case. Yeah.
Are you like B.B. King and you have names for your instruments?
Yeah, I do.
You do. So tell us about this.
Well, this
girl
guitar is actually designed similarly to Barney's guitar, inspired by Barney's guitar. A guy in Japan makes these guitars. He was making copies of Barney's guitar, and I helped him out, just kind of showing where he kind of missed a few little points. And then he wanted to know if I wanted one, and I had the original, so I didn't want the copy, but I said I'd make some changes. Mm-hmm. And so he took my changes and he made a model out of it, and this is actually available to the public as well.
Sure.
I call her Rosie. She's red, for those of you who are on the radio.
That's right.
Red, it matches my eyes. I kind of have a signature red guitar generally because I have a show I do called The Red Guitar, where I tell a story about how music takes over the lives of the people who play it.
That's right. Well, Bruce, that's right. You're not only a great guitarist, but you're also a griot, if you will. You're a storyteller, right?
Yeah, okay. I don't know. You don't have to call me names.
Well, but you're someone that could actually, tell the story of, on the guitar and also reciting it as well.
Yeah, well, yep.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Now, is this based off like a legendary Gibson guitar?
Yes, it's originally based on a Barney's modification of his. His guitar was a Gibson ES 350 from the late 40s.
Mm-hmm. I see.
And so that's what this is, the base design is. But, Barney changed the neck on his and the pickup and a bunch of the accoutrements, like the knobs and stuff and the bridge. And this is sort of similar to that. I mean, it has a Charlie Christian pickup, these are called, which are really great sounding, but have a tendency to hum a lot because it's real, old technology.
And what makes it special? I mean, why a pickup from the 30s?
It's very clear.
Uh-huh.
It's particularly like you can really hear the definition of every string. A lot of jazz pickups have a tendency to, they're called humbuckers because they don't hum.
Mm-hmm.
They have two magnets in them that are
Right.
going in reverse phase. And so they have a tendency to be kind of mushy in the bass, but they're really fat in the high notes.
I see.
And that's why we like them, because we play mostly on the higher end, and we want the notes to kind of sound horn-like.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And this guitar is a lot clearer, so in order to get that sound, you really have to have your hands together to get every note to sing.
Very revealing, right?
It's very, but it's rewarding
right.
too.
It's akin to having like a dry cymbal, right? Akira Tana. You cannot hide behind a dry cymbal.
It's very interesting when hearing these descriptions of guitars, how personal it is. Whereas I was just sitting here thinking, well, I don't know if you can really make any kind of connection with drums in the same kind of personal way that Bruce just described with the guitar, but it's really about the cymbals, like
That's
you just
right.
mentioned.
That's right.
Yeah, and so because, for example, the drums here are a set of drums, a set of Yamahas, and they're actually quite good for they're kind of stunted, in
Yeah, they're a
sizes and everything,
cocktail
but
size
the sound
kit.
is really good. But I think that's why you will find drummers so concerned about cymbals, and they travel with cymbals, even though they're going to be playing on like whatever set the presenter provides for the performance. So.
And that's really where your musical personality comes through, right? A part of it.
I mean, but for recordings, so sometimes you could play on a trash can and they can make it sound very appealing and very good.
Are you saying it's just metal? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, I think it's metal. It looks
That's
like
right.
metal.
This is Studio 91. I'm Chris Cortez, and if you're listening right now, we are on KCSM HD2 and streaming live on Facebook right now, where we want to say hello to our Facebook viewers at the time. So let's get back to some music, because that's why we are here in the Studio 91. So why don't you tell us about this next tune, if you guys know?
I'm just doing this to piss off my parents.
That's right. We're going to get into that as well in a little bit.
Wait a minute here.
Yeah.
Do I have to pay for that and lay on the couch or anything?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Akira Tana
what do you
and
wanna do now?
Bruce Forman.
I don't know. Let's see.
Samurai.
Well, the samurai. We're going to talk a little about the connection between
Yes.
samurai and cowboys. But maybe we'll play like a Japanese song. What do you think about that?
Okay.
I mean, samurais come from Japan, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Really?
So it's actually, this is a children's song called Donguri Koro Koro, which is like the tumbling acorn. And actually, Bruce is going to play the original.
It's catchy. Believe me, it's an earworm.
It is.
Okay, he told me I had to learn this, and so I did. I'll never get that 2
Well,
minutes
we'll
back.
see
of
if
my
he
life.
actually learned it.
Is this a song that
I'll never get that 2 minutes back.
I wish people on the radio can actually watch and see this. I mean, it's just so fun watching you two interact together. And tell us about the title of that piece once again, Akira.
You mean? Well, it's actually it's a children's song that kids learn. It's like Mary Had a Little Lamb or something like that in Japan, and there's songs like that just permeate the society. And I'm sure, I don't know exactly when this song was written. But it, like, you go anywhere. I mean, my travels in Japan, it's a band that I have, Otonowa, we play this, and and all of a sudden everyone knows the song, and so it's actually kind of satisfying to play something that people can relate to,
Yeah.
From childhood. And then we start improvising, and then they start looking
Totally
at us
can't
like,
relate.
"What are they doing?" Right?
Like, what's happening here?
What is this? And then we finish it with the melody at the end, and they almost like singing along with us. So.
What's the sentiment behind the tune? I mean, the melody's beautiful. I mean, it sounds like a happy melody.
Doesn't it
I
mean
mean,
rolling
A
acorn?
rolling acorn that's going down the hill. So
I see.
So donguri actually means donguri. I think it's for acorn, and koro is just a sound, of a rolling acorn.
Yeah, it's like an onomatopoeic word.
Sure, yeah,
It sounds like what a koro is kind of
Yeah, and
skipping down the road.
I assume these melodies and stories are hundreds of years old.
Yeah, and also what we did and what was done with the song is that it's almost like we based the changes to rhythm changes. I got rhythm, Gershwin, I got rhythm, and inserted that in the solo section, but it isn't really included in the melody.
I see.
And so there's a number of songs that can be created that way.
Yeah,
So
some
fun.
artistic license, right?
That's right. I mean, there's just two of us, so it makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what we do. I mean, our job is basically taking themes and improvising on them and making something out of them. So whether it be melodically, harmonically, rhythmically, generally all three, that's kind of what jazz is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm used to doing that.
And I saw that towards the end, when you came back to the head, you actually changed up the feel there. You went a little rocking there, and you responded just immediately. I mean, you heard it.
I mean, that's what's so beautiful about with like a duo.
Yeah.
Is that you can navigate any kind of changes or anything that might not exactly go as planned, and you can actually adjust to it because it's really just only one other person.
Right.
For example, if it was just a solo, I mean, you'd have so much freedom. It's like, but when you start adding more folks to it, it gets a little more complicated. But,
Right. When
this is enough. Two is enough.
Yeah, right. Well, when I first heard the concept that it was going to be drums and guitar, I thought, wow, there's no bass or anything. I mean, how does that work for you guys as musicians? Because there's no bottom end. There's really nothing to sort of cradle, the music.
Well, there is bottom. I mean, there's lots of low sounds
the bass
coming
drum.
from the bass drum, and the guitar has low sounds.
Yeah.
But yes, there's not a third person providing that function, so it probably sounds weird to your ears at first,
Right.
and then within. I would guess, I mean, I can't tell you what you're thinking, but I would guess within like a minute or so, you get used to it, and then you're just listening to the dialogue of the music that's happening. It doesn't sound like it usually does. Then you just get into what it does sound like. I like it because I've got all of his attention.
Sure. Absolutely.
And he's got all mine, whereas we get in with a third person, then we're he's connected to that person, and they're providing a bedrock for me on top. I like the dialogue aspects, and like he says, the ability to just change at any moment.
Right.
That's why I like playing this way. I also did it a lot growing up, mostly because bass players were so busy they weren't making sessions. We wanted to play, and drummers and guitar players are similar. We'll play like 12 hours a day, no problem. You know what I mean? No stopping.
Right.
Or like I used to play at a session, and we'd be playing some fast tune or something, giant steps or rhythm changes, and it's a session. I wanted to work on playing, so I'd maybe play for 10 minutes, 15 minutes on this thing, and we're having a ball, except for the bass player is mad as shit because he goes, well, you're killing me over here. And I go, well, then stop playing.
That's right.
We got it. Like a drummer doesn't mind. We'll play for 45 minutes straight on one tune.
That's right.
And so for me, that's kind of how I got into the sound and into the feeling. Of course, there's this famous one like Coltrane and Elvin. I mean, those
I was
amazing.
just about to bring that up in terms of
the way they played. I mean, it's completely full, and he I mean, I can play chords.
That's right.
So I have like extra bonus. Of course, I'm not John Coltrane. No one is, but
right. So in some ways, is it more freeing to just to have the two of you, or is it a little bit more difficult? You have to operate at a higher, realm because you're having to cover all that space.
Well, I think the whole idea. I mean, for example, especially for a drummer, in terms of at least knowing the melodies and the song forms. And so, and just letting that cycle of changes in the form run through while you're playing, it's almost like you have to kind of remind yourself that that there aren't other people there, and that you're basically trying to keep it together for yourself. And so, but stuff happens. I mean, stuff can move, tempos can change, you know, and a couple times the forms can change also. But that's what makes it so exciting. That you keep your ears open, and you have to be prepared for anything, actually.
That's right. That's
Which
right.
is kind of what we were told jazz was. I think there was a little bit of false advertising when I got into it.
Right.
You know, but I mean, no, you hit on two things. Yes, you have more responsibility.
Yeah.
And at the same time, more freedom.
More freedom. Well, that's
It's
the best of
kind of-
both
there's
worlds, I
nothing-
got to say.
You know,
Yeah.
and you don't need to play everything. You can let the listener imagine some of it, or just leave it out.
Right.
You know, there's like, you don't have to say everything. You don't have to play everything.
Which I failed to do on that last song. But,
well, you can make up for
That's
it.
right. You don't have to keep talking, right? You just
so
you let it breathe
that's why
a
you're
little
gonna
bit.
play all by
Yeah.
yourself right now.
Really? I'm playing right now. You just can't hear it. I'm leaving space.
And we are speaking with guitarist Bruce Forman and drummer Akira Tana, and together they're known as the Cowboy and the Samurai. And I'm Chris Cortez. This is Studio 91 here on KCSM's HD2 and streaming live on Facebook right now. I think we should get back to music before we get back, before we talk about the Samurai and the Cowboy. But before we do that, just can you tell me briefly what these instruments are? Because these look like gorgeous traditional type of drums, or I can't even describe them. They look like calf skins.
Well, actually, these are called fan drums.
Fan drums.
And so they're actually probably much smaller sizes and much larger sizes. So there could be as many as like 10 or 12. And so they use these drums at festivals.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like a marching band here, you know, where you have like a tenor drum, and you have a snare drum, and you have a bass drum. And so you have, while they're dancing to a song, individuals actually hold these drums and play them.
Oh, I see.
And so, but
you've adapted it to the
they're
kit.
very effective. I mean, some folks have a whole set of them, and in a set up in a stand.
Right.
You know, and so you're actually playing. It's almost like years ago when they had rototoms.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, where you could tune them and everything, but it's like having tuned drums.
Yeah.
And
So-
but they're all calf skin.
Right.
And so you're kind of at the mercy of the humidity and the weather.
So
like
they're
in
not
here,
absolute
it's pretty
tunes,
dry.
right.
So even this low one is actually pretty high pitched.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you see it like a thin. No one can see these, right?
Well,
That's
I think our
something.
viewers on Facebook
But I mean,
maybe will
they
see
look
'em.
like pancakes,
They do.
basically.
Yeah.
But they sound. They have a real
Yeah.
warm, full sound
Sure,
to them.
yeah.
You wouldn't expect that from something so thin. you
Yeah.
know, so.
Well, thanks for that explanation. I mean, I've never seen anything like that, so I think
But,
it's
you know,
very
I
good.
mean, if you want, I can get some butter and syrup, and we can figure out what we can do with them.
All right, let's hear more
You're
music.
making me
then.
hungry. Quit it.
How about something pretty, cowboy?
Something pretty? I don't know. Okay.
Gorgeous. Autumn in New York, featuring our guests in studio here at KCSM's Studio 91.
Vermont.
Moonlight in Vermont.
Oh, Moonlight in Vermont. I'm
Moonlight in
sorry.
Vermont.
Close.
Why do I get
Yeah,
those two
one
mixed
of them
up?
places out back
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I'm an
It's
announcer on the
cold all
radio.
time. Unless it's hot.
That's right. That's right. Well, thanks for the correction there. I was, I don't know what I was thinking. But Bruce Forman here in studio with drummer Akira Tana. And we're just having a great time here on the Studio 91 and here on KCSM HD2.
And by the way, you're a great host, Chris.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.
All I've been
I mean,
doing
it's
is
like-
just sitting here listening. So I don't know, man.
It's
But-
really weird to be around all these records. It's like being
Yeah.
in like a heavy duty
Vault. a
psychic
bank
session.
vault.
You
That's
know, and all
right.
these souls, because that's what I feel.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, all these musical souls.
Well, these records are decades old,
Yes,
and they come
and,
from the K-Jazz library.
yeah.
And Pat Henry's actually who founded K-Jazz. You can see his signature on each and every one of these albums
Yeah.
in here. But it is truly special to be in a room filled with all this
it's-
history
it's
and all this
heavy.
music.
You know, it's interesting because I think the sound in here is really fantastic, and it's
Yeah, you know you're hip to contemporary records. You know, on the West Coast. I mean, all of their records by Roy Dunan were recorded in their vinyl room, in their storage room, basically.
In their warehouse, yeah.
Yeah,
Lester Koenig's warehouse, yeah.
So I mean, that it had a tremendous sound. So there's something about vinyl and the weight of the vinyl that translates
Yes.
to the sound. So Bruce, I'm seeing your cowboy boots and your cowboy hat. So is it really true you can take the boy out of Texas, but you can't take Texas
I
out
don't
of the
know
boy?
that it's Texas
Yeah.
as much as just love of horses,
Yeah.
and then I did a lot of that kind of thing. I mean,
you a
I
rancher?
actually did more cowboying here in California.
Oh, okay.
And not to be pedantic, but to be pedantic. That's a big word I know for most of us. But the first cowboys in America were Californian, not Texan.
Is that right?
Yes, they were running cows in California before there was a cow in Texas.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
If
fascinating.
you look your
For real.
history up for real, no, I'm not bullshitting here. This is like back during the they were called vaqueros, which the word buckaroo is derived from.
Wow.
But they were running cows up California in the mission days, and Texas didn't have that going on yet.
I see.
I'm not
Fascinating.
belittling how important the Texas is in the cowboy culture and everything in the center of it. But the first in our contiguous United States, the first cowboys were actually Californios.
Wow. See, you learned
It's
something new.
historically proven.
That is
This
amazing.
isn't an internet fact or an AI fact. This is a real one.
That's right. That's right.
So,
It's-
and most of my horse riding and ranch work was done in California.
wow. Yeah.
But I did some as a kid when I was in Texas too.
Were you like a professional
So you actually grew up
rodeo person? or no?
Professional,
No.
I don't know. It's like, is anybody ever a professional? I was paid to do it a couple times.
That's professional. There you
okay.
go.
And I won buckles in competitions and stuff. But
And some money, I'm sure. No.
no,
No.
buckles.
And a kid,
Believe me, it costs a lot of money. When you have a horse,
right?
you never come out on top.
Are you still riding to this day?
No,
Yeah.
no, I've given up. I'm
Yeah,
just
you-
riding the guitar now.
There it is. Well, that's plenty right there.
Yeah.
And Akira Tana, I know you were born and raised out here in the Bay Area.
Right.
Yeah, but of course, you have strong roots in Japanese culture.
Well,
and-
I mean, my parents are from Japan, so so that it couldn't get any closer than that, except unless I was actually born and raised. But I was actually born here in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And it's interesting this project
Yeah.
about samurai and cowboys. I mean, I just did some research on it, and samurai is actually are swordsmen who belong to a feudal lord. And so back in the 13, 1400s, and even up into the 1700s, for the feudal wars and everything broke down, the feudal lords actually either collapsed, their fiefdom or fiefdom collapsed, and so the samurai, who were actually employees of these lords, became unemployed, and so that's when they became masterless samurai, and they have a name called Ronin.
That's the
Ronin.
Uh-huh.
And so there's a lot of folklore, and there's a lot of films. Like a famous 47 Ronin is a real famous a movie made based on masterless samurai, and they were very accomplished swordsmen. They were
Wow.
like for hire, kind of like cowboys, right? I mean, it became
Or
hired-
jazz musicians.
Jazz musicians. Yeah, and so
Well, speaking of film, I know early Japanese filmmakers. I guess most notably Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a deep admirer of American westerns, wasn't he?
either that or American filmmakers were very.
Or was it the other way around?
It was the other way
reverse,
around. I
because-
mean,
Yeah.
I bet he was an admirer, but many of the westerns we watch and we know of, the iconic westerns, were actually direct takeoffs of samurai films.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, for example, the most famous one probably is Seven Samurai by
the
Kurosawa.
Magnificent
It was
Seven.
made
Magnificent Seven?
in 1952.
Yeah.
And when was Magnificent Seven?
That
made?
was
In the
either
60s?
early 70s or late 60s. I think early 70s.
So the Magnificent Seven, that had Yul Brynner in it, right?
Yul Brynner, Steve McQueen,
Yeah.
James Coburn. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Eli
So
Wallach was with the bad guy.
So that was actually
great.
based on Seven Samurai. And
Wow.
then one of your guys,
My
your
guys.
boss,
Wait a minute. Who you blaming me?
Mr. Clint.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Okay.
There wasn't a Fistful of Dollars, right?
Yeah. That was also, and yeah, for a few dollars more, all those were
Yeah.
Sergio Leone.
So
Yeah.
A
Fistful
lot
of
of them were actually samurai movies, kind of.
So Fistful of Dollars
Uh-huh.
was based on Yojimbo,
Right.
another Kurosawa film.
So I would say they inspired each other, right? The samurai inspired the cowboys, and the cowboy inspired the samurai.
I would
in a
hope
way.
so, but I don't know. I mean, you'd have to ask them.
That's right. You have to
But you
go
know, there
back
was a
in
real
time.
famous swordsman, a blind swordsman
Uh-huh.
called Zato Ichi. He was blind, and so I don't know if there's an equivalent of that in cowboy
I don't know
lore.
of that, but
Yeah, but this guy was like an incredible star, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd be blind, and he'd be
yeah, you
like
could hear everything, like a musician.
That's right. That's right.
jazz musician.
That's
or
right, but
blind.
there's a lot of stories there. I mean, a lot of stories when you go back to the Japanese culture and relating it with cowboys and such. I mean, there's
Yeah,
a
so
lot
I'm
of
gonna have
lot
to
of
learn.
untold stories there.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of stories, you're someone who continues to write, and I mean, you write novels and such. I mean, what genres? What
My
genres you write in?
genre, I would call it autofictionography. I sort of take my life and make it more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, your life is and
Well,
was
I
very
make it
interesting.
even why I really, like I say, I just make shit up. But I sort of take, usually my 4 novels, it's one character kind of as he goes through life and he gets in trouble and he's a musician,
Right.
a jazz musician.
All right. So you've written 4 already at this. are
Only
you-
one's been published.
I see. What about the others? Can we read them somewhere?
If somebody were to call me, I'd send them a PDF of it. Sure.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm not, what the hell?
Do you have a pseudonym?
I'm on Earth basically to just pester people and torture them. So this would be a great way to do it.
Do you? Is your writing your author name Bruce Forman as
Yeah.
well, or do you have a pseudonym?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, very
I figured,
cool.
He's actually writing one on me now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah. It's going to be. I can see the next one coming already.
There's plenty of inspiration there,
Yes.
I'm sure. And we are speaking with drummer Akira Tana and guitarist Bruce Forman in studio here at Studio 91, KCSM HD2. I'm Chris Cortez. Let's hear some more music, guys.
Okay.
Bruce, help me out. The tune is at the tip of my tongue, but I'm forgetting the name.
That's the theme from Magnificent. That's not really the theme. It's an homage to the Magnificent
Yes,
Seven.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And a kid almost lost a cymbal there.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, in the heat of moment, in the heat of battle, things like that that happen.
My stand actually saved it from.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah,
Came
cool.
off here and it was like this.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
cool.
wow. Very, very good. See, nobody ever told you that it was a hazardous thing to do, to play drums. You
do
know,
that purposely.
he can almost decapitate you if you're not careful. So we've got about 10 minutes left, so we're gonna squeeze in some more music, but we do want to get into a little bit more about you two, and because. You know, it's wonderful having people of such stature, in the studio with us, people with so much knowledge and decades of seasoned experience. And you've both not only continued to provide, our jazz audience and fans with some wonderful performances and music, but you're also handing it down to the next, generation of folks. I know, Akira, you teach at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music, and Bruce, you're down at USC. Have you been down there for many years now? So what would you tell some of our aspiring musicians, that are getting into this music, trying to get in, and what should they be doing to get into this industry?
It's very interesting for me. I don't know about it for Bruce, but, for years and years when I was coming up playing with different people, I was always the youngest in the band. And I would look up to all these masters that I had the opportunity to play with, and sooner than later, or later than sooner, I find myself now the oldest, in terms of playing with folks, and there's so many young musicians who are coming up that are incredible, and sometimes I feel like, especially here doing a radio show at the station, at KCSM, which I've been very fortunate to do some shows here and still do some shows and be surrounded by all this music. But there's so much music out there, especially from younger players, that I kind of feel like, wow, what am I doing playing music, still playing, because there's just so much talent out here and incredible stuff. But I think what's important is the experience and being able to play with many different folks and even older folks. But now for myself, I can only speak for myself and play with the younger people that can kind of keep your spirit young. And I think that was probably one of the motivations for not only financially for leaders to hire younger players, because they can get players to play for less money,
right.
But just for them to play with the younger players, to let their spirit continue to be youthful and be so that's I would
so get out there and play with other people.
Yeah.
Basically.
So basically, as far as trying to teach younger students and players about the whole idea of learning about the tradition and learning about the Great American Songbook and jazz songs, and learning by ear, because nowadays everything you see, people with music stands.
Yeah, they got an iPad or iReel.
The whole idea of learning by ear and hearing it.
Yeah.
Because music is about hearing.
Absolutely.
More than anything else.
Now, when you went to Harvard, what were you studying?
What was I studying?
Was it music, or what was your focus?
I've forgotten actually what I was studying.
But it's amazing because
music has always been part of my life, and so I kind of feel like part of the reason why I went to college was basically out of respect for my parents and to get an education. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go to a school like Harvard from here.
Right.
And so the first thing I did when when I got my degree, I went to my mother and I handed it to her, and I said, this is really for you.
Right. And now I'm going to go play. Yeah.
So, and then after that, I went to pursue music. And so,
That's
but
right.
I was playing music then. I mean, there was some interesting players that actually went to Harvard. I mean, Steve Kuhn.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Roswell Rudd went to, I think, Yale or something. Like
Sure.
Joshua Redmond.
Of course. Yeah.
So
you see, I come from a Filipino family, and you have to really convince your parents, to allow you to step into music and to play
you mean
music.
to do music?
Yeah. So you didn't have any challenges like that. It sounds like your parents were very supportive.
Well, I think I was. I mean, personally, I think I was fortunate because my parents gave all of their children free rein in terms of what they wanted to do.
Yeah. What about you, Bruce? You're still teaching, and you have a lot of great students every semester. So, what's the golden nugget that you can give them?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, you got to be a badass. I mean, whatever that means to you.
Sure.
You have to define what that is. But
you have to be a cowboy.
You have to be a badass.
Okay.
Because that's people need that when you play for them, when you play with them. They need to feel something is there.
Something special.
Whatever that means to the individual. I mean, I'm very much about the jazz ethos and individuality thing. I am a little bit sad that there's just not as many opportunities for the younger players to play with the older players. When I was coming up, I was really fortunate just to be mentored by so many great players and get the opportunity. There was lots of clubs with music in it, and that has dwindled down, and it's a much more difficult economic model to sustain, and that's the reason. But I'm hoping that they know, and I try to, that they have to be the community that supports them. They have to support each other, and they have to go out, and they have to figure out a way to get the experience. Because while they've got YouTube, and you can hear what I played on every record and half the gigs I've ever done, it's not the same as playing with me.
That's right.
And it's not the same. You can sit and listen to Philly Joe Jones all you want, but believe me, and I did growing up, and then I played with him.
Wow.
And there was a whole lot more to learn,
That's right.
in that moment. And so I'm hoping that people just retain the values of community, because that's really
100%.
what we need. We're entering into really no man's land with the new technological revolution. I don't think it's particularly designed to be friendly to musicians, and particularly jazz musicians.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we can't find a way to not only sustain but thrive in that environment. And what you're doing is a big part of it too.
Sure.
We all need to create a community and have value and prove our value every day.
That's it. Well, I want to thank you two gentlemen for spending some time with us this afternoon. I know how busy you both are, and how much it means for us, at least, to get you in here to spend some time. So it's just amazing that you were here. So we want to thank you and our listening audience as well. And this is Studio 91 here at KCSM HD2. I'm Chris Cortez, Bruce Forman on guitar, and on drums, Akira Tana. Also
and Chris, we'd like to thank you for speaking for the both of us. To give us an opportunity to come in.
Oh, anytime.
You
want to come back next week?
We've never really played before.
The 2-drink minimum's killing me.
Will you take us out with some music? Because we do have a few minutes left,
Sure.
and we're just going to roll the credits as you guys play us out.